was the sale of the technology that would allow someone to take pictures anywhere on Earth of objects as small as a Yugo or a hot dog stand.
No, it's the sale of the data itself. The companies such as Lockheed and Hughes, which actually own the technology, were the ones that lobbied for this.
You mean if, like, let's say Deng Xiaoping says, I want a picture of the Baltimore rail yards, he can order some satellite owner to move the satellite to get a picture of it and get the, we will sell him the picture of the Baltimore rail yards?
Well, there will, of course, be a Department of Defense and a State Department panel monitoring each of these requests, but essentially, yes, that's the way it's going to go.
Well, if that's all it is, then if we exercise proper security clearances, and I guess this is all right. But I didn't read the article that way. Maybe I just read it too quickly.
Well, it's part of the whole exploding space commercialization that's going on around the world, and America's losing its lead to people like France and Japan and Russia, and this is a move on the part of the companies themselves.
We are losing our lead in space to Russia?
Yes, we are. Russia launches more than any other country in the world right now, and they're moving into the commercial markets with alarming speed, and we need to do things like this to catch up with them and surpass them once again.
I'm going to have to do a Nexus search and get this story back. I read it entirely differently than the way you are presenting it here. I'm not saying you're wrong, by the way, because I did not even read it to the jump page. I just read what was on the front page of the New York Times and went from there. So you're probably right. I'll grant you that if you're right, that I was probably wrong.
Well, there's a whole it's part of a much greater, deeper issue about the commercialization of space. And our enemies, Russia, who we once were, competing in the space race, and which led us to landing on the moon, there's now 15 companies working mergers or cooperative ventures with the Russian companies that we used to be enemies with, and that's just a wonderful thing.
Well, we might still be, is the thing. That's I guess, one of my points is that we might still be. There's a late report today or last night that it looks like China is selling nuclear missile technology to Korea.
Korea?
Yeah.
Yeah,
North Korea.
We're engaged in diplomatic discussions with China to cease and desist activity like that to Korea and Pakistan.
Well, a lot of good the discussions are doing. The sales are still taking place.
Well, Hughes and Lockheed and these very same companies are lobbying to let us do the launches because China is now offering cheaper launches than anyone else. But they're being dragged more and more towards a market economy, so their launch prices will come more and more in line with Western prices as time goes on. So I don't think that's a huge worry. We do have to worry about the missile proliferation, but the more we can privatize and commercialize space, the better everyone's economy will do.
Well, look, on the surface of it, privatization I'm always, mostly would be supportive of. But look, let me ask you a simple question the way you read this. Are we going to be selling spy technology or not?
No, not the technology, just the data.
Meaning the pictures?
The pictures. And usually those pictures are going to be at least 5 years old, if not a lot older.
You mean we're going to sell them pictures that are already taken?
Yep.
What for?
We've already taken them.
For what? What are they?
They're the CIA pictures. They're just sitting in our archives, not doing anything. We're going to have a fire sale and
we're going to sell them CIA pictures?
Yeah, declassified CIA pictures. The ultimate coup. The pictures we took of them to beat them in the Cold War, we're now going to sell them at a profit. It's the ultimate coup.
Why would they want them?
Oh, it's great for agricultural information, for geographic information, for preventing damage from disasters like hurricanes and typhoons and things of that nature.
There's a big market for this stuff?
Huge market.
Seems to me there'd be a bigger market for being able to take your own pictures of whatever you want in a clandestine way. And that's what I thought we were getting ready to do.
No. The more booming market for this type of thing is in, agriculture is the biggest one right now. In fact, that's the GATT trades were being held up by the French and their spot image people because of the, partly because of the image wars they were having.
If that's the case, I wonder if I could go down and buy some pictures of the Vuelto Abajo Valley in Cuba, where the best tobacco in the world is grown. I could have a picture of that valley on my wall. Thanks.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
If you are in business or have children in school, then this message is for you. This is Kevin Trudeau, founder of the American Memory Institute, Imagine you or your children with a virtual photographic memory and being able to remember names and faces, facts and information, telephone numbers, things to do, and more. Students get straight A's with less study time. Call 1-800-862-MEGA and see why over 2 million people have already benefited from the easy-to-learn Mega Memory Home Study course. That's 1-800-862-MEGA. 1-800-862-MEGA.
You know what the hottest beverage in America is right now? It's Snapple. You know why it's the hottest beverage? Because I endorse it, I recommend it, I drink it, and I love it. Over 55 different flavors of soft drinks and iced teas, sugar-free and naturally sweetened. Diet Peach, Diet Raspberry, my favorites. Snapple, sweeping America. Taste it and find out why. You won't be able to put it down, just like you won't be able to stop listening to this show. Snapple, made from the best stuff on earth.
Blue skies, red rock, a few wrong turns along the way, and here you are. No road signs, no billboards, no signs of civilization. You panic. You hear ringing in your ears. No, it's your Sprint cellular phone. But how did anyone ever find you? Easy. You chose the one cellular company in town, the only one that has mobile link. And now that you have Sprint Cellular, your phone has a sense of direction, even if you don't. In fact, you can have your calls track you down just about anywhere in the U.S. and Canada, even way out here, where the red dust kisses your wingtips. Truth is, Sprint Cellular's mobile link network makes it easier to be there now, even if there is, say about 100 miles due west, or is that due east?
Why wait for the other guys to catch up? Be there now with Sprint Cellular, featuring quality Motorola phones. Call 778-0204.
Mitchell Manufacturing has been in business for 10 years, and we're celebrating with an open house on Saturday at our new location on Highway 70 west of Goldsboro. Come by and check out a wide selection of Suzuki-powered Mitchcraft boats for your skiing, fishing, or boating pleasure. Special prices are on new and used boats, and Mitchell Manufacturing has boat trailers, Suzuki outboards, and all the accessories to make your boat complete. Stop by and register for a great prize. It all happens at the open house this Saturday at Mitchell Manufacturing on Highway 70 west of Goldsboro.
Beautiful sleepers on sale now at Jernigan Furniture. Jernigan Furniture offers an impressive collection of sleepers in traditional, transitional, and charming country styling. And at Jernigan Furniture, sleepers are ozone-friendly since all cushion material is produced without the use of CFCs. Get the sleeper of your choice in the style you like for only $7.99. Now at Jernigan Furniture, 2101 East Ash Street in Goldsboro. Open Monday and Friday nights till 9 for family shopping.
Time for one more call here before the end of the hour. Longmont, Colorado. Joy, hi, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Rush.
Hi.
Greetings from a conservative stronghold in northern Colorado, where we do care about whitewater.
Nice to hear from you, and thank you.
I wanted to tell you what happened yesterday. Hillary Clinton was in Denver, as well as Boulder. I live like 12 miles from Boulder. At the University of Colorado, she spoke. There were protesters in the group. There were some people that held a sign that said, "What did Vince Foster know?" And it was a big banner portraying dripping blood, demanding to know, what did Vince Foster know? And there were people who tried to cover it up, you know, and security guards tried to get the protesters to take the sign down, but they were unsuccessful. And television camera operators forced the Clinton supporters to quit blocking the Foster banner. Also what happened, a plane circled overhead, pulled out a banner that said, "Reveal your S&L income." Other people had bumper stickers on their cars or held signs that said, "Impeach Clinton."
Whoa.
Whoa.
Whoa, well, it really sounds to me like Americans don't really care much about that.
HB Systems at 2902 Central Heights Road in the Brent King Building is Goldsboro's coast-to-coast computer operation with complete business systems, hardware, and software. They offer installations all across the USA. HB Systems offers custom software design and programming, training and support, as well as networking or standalone operations. These systems are custom designed for your business, whether you operate a one-person business or a large business. They know computers. HB Systems, 2902 Central Heights Road, Goldsboro. Call 778-9795.
You're searching for the best deal on a program car. Stop the search and head to Leith of Goldsboro today. Leith Chrysler, Plymouth, Jeep Eagle, and Leith Dodge Isuzu has a lot of great deals for you. Leith has reduced the prices and increased the selection of program cars. Check out the huge selection of program cars, all priced right, all with special financing opportunities for you. Choose a 93 Chrysler LeBaron 4-door for only $11,895. Leith Chrysler, Plymouth, Jeep Eagle, and Leith Dodge Isuzu, Highway 70 West, Goldsboro. Tax tag and $138 dock fee or extra. Payments based on 20% down cash at trade for 60 months at 7.95 APR.
WGBR, Goldsboro's very own.
From ABC News, I'm John Belmont. 911 and long-distance phone service is coming back in Southern California after a morning fire at a Pac Bell switching center in Los Angeles that affected service in spots from Ventura down to San Diego. Let's get the latest now from Pacific Telephone spokesman John Britton.
The good news is that all 911 service has been restored. We are beginning to restore power in the area where the fire was, so more circuits are starting to come back on. That's good news. That means more people will complete their calls now and fewer people will get circuit busy calls.
John Britton of PacTel. We've been trying to call Los Angeles without any problems for the last little while now. The NRA has staged a preemptive strike. The National Rifle Association has decided to cut its long-standing ties to the U.S. Olympic shooting team before the USOC does it itself. The issue is whether the NRA was using the Olympic connection for promotional purposes. Hell hath no fury like a president fed up. I'm using the H word here because so is Mr. Clinton selling health care and dismissing Whitewater in New Hampshire today.
Make no mistake about it, some of the people who are giving me hell in Washington are doing it, so I can't give you help, but I'm going to try to give you help and take whatever it is they want to give me in return for making sure you get what it is you're entitled to.
And the president at a town hall meeting in Nashua this morning, Democrats on a House subcommittee have just barely defeated a Republican attempt to kill a big feature of the Clinton plan, the one that would make all businesses pay for their workers' health care insurance. One more presidential note, Mr. Clinton has extended the moratorium on U.S. nuclear weapons testing by another year. It's now good through September of 1995. Another passive smoking study that supports earlier estimates that breathing secondhand smoke can increase your risk of dying from a heart attack by 30%. This latest study, done at UC San Francisco, was performed on rats. You're listening to ABC News.
By the age of 8, he'd appeared in 50 films.
There's nothing like buying a suit when you're down in the dumps. That's where I got this one.
At 40, he pioneered the birth of television. Tuesday night, the EIB Network presents an original world premiere biography, Milton Berle, Mr. Television.
Thank you very, very much.
And after 80 years, this genuine comic legend is still getting the last laugh.
Oh, Milton, where do you get this material?
Don't miss A&E's premiere biography of Milton Berle, Tuesday night at 8 Eastern, 9 Pacific Time. A&E, it's time well spent.
These days, business as usual just doesn't cut it. Missed deliveries mean missed income, and competition is tougher than ever. When you're this busy, the last thing you need is a rental truck that's dirty, unreliable, or not ready when promised. Introducing the Ryder Commercial Rental Guarantee. It's very simple. If you're not satisfied with your rental, you'll get a day free on your next rental. So call 1-800-BUY-RYDER and rent a truck you can count on. Offer good at company-owned locations, fuel mileage, insurance not included, other restrictions apply.
A jury in Brockton, Massachusetts has convicted a 65-year-old Catholic priest of raping an altar boy back in the early 80s. The jury spent just 5 hours deliberating the case of the Reverend John Hanlon. In Michigan, where one school system closed down early last spring because voters wouldn't pay higher property taxes, a higher sales tax for education is on the ballot today. ABC's Catherine Leslie has the story.
The plan backed by Governor John Engler calls for a 2% sales tax increase, bringing it up to 6%, the national average. The money will be used to fund schools now that the property tax school funding has been virtually wiped out. But if Proposal A goes down, residents will see a 30% income tax increase kick in. Airwaves have been bombarded with propaganda put forth by both sides. The governor's called the ad blitz the worst ever seen in the state's history. It's leaving voters like Annette Schick dazed and confused.
I think they tried to make it confusing, sure. No, the decision wasn't confusing, but I think the way they're playing it all up is very confusing to a lot of people.
The governor says the cigarette lobby has pitched in about $5 million to defeat Prop A because it includes a cigarette tax hike. Catherine Leslie, ABC News, Detroit.
A lobby group is reminding low-income Americans they don't have to pay a tax service to have their returns done. The Center on Budget and Policy Priorities points out IRS volunteers are filling out 1040s, long and short forms, in libraries, community centers, and malls across the country. Updating the stock market, the Dow Industrial is currently down about 3 points at the 3859 level. This is ABC News.
Here at La Quinta Inns, we're so proud of our new look, we've asked our architect, Bob Koch, to tell you just a little bit about it.
When you're thinking about coming to a place, what you're trying to do is reinforce both the invitation and the arrival sequence. And you do it by attacking all the senses. Architects don't just work in one palette.
Gee, Bob, what's wrong with words like pretty or neat? Oh well, come see the new La Quinta, usually about $39 to $59. You're not staying at a hotel, you're staying with us.
For the ABC Information Network, I'm John Belmont.
Who's on your side when you buy a home? The realtor? The mortgage lender? Don't you need someone in your corner? Global Inspection Corporation can be your best friend. They can use their 21 years building experience to inspect your prospective home and let you know what's good and what's a potential problem. An inspected home can ease worries about financing and insurance problems. Best of all, you know your home will live up to your expectations. To help you through the home buying jungle, call 689-2304 for Global Inspection Corporation.
A pair of cold fronts to our northwest should rush through the area tonight and tomorrow, dropping our high temperatures by as much as 15 or 20 degrees. Our forecast for this afternoon, partly cloudy, breezy, and quite warm. The high today reaching around 71 to 76 degrees. Then tonight, partly cloudy skies, lows dropping off to about 40 to 45. For Wednesday, we'll look for mostly sunny skies. It'll be windy and much cooler. The high tomorrow only 55 to 60. At the Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Mike Moss.
Expressed by the host on this show have America riveted to their radios. The reason why is that this show is engaged in a daily relentless pursuit of the truth with no malice, simple fact-checking desired and accomplished.
This is a special edition of the Rush Limbaugh program, America Held Hostage. And now, from our studios in New York City, here is Rush Limbaugh.
Thank you, Johnny Donovan. Welcome back. It's the Rush Limbaugh program, Hour 2. Happy you've joined us. Today is day 418 of the raw deal for the poor, the middle class. Day 439 today for the rich, tax avoiders, and the dead. 1,042 days of whining, temper tantrums, and diversion left for all to endure. We're glad you're with us. Phone numbers 1-800-282-2882. Other general interest news here, folks, before we return to the hot news of the day. That would be White Watergate, the Webster Hubble, his resignation, and the Clintons and a joint wine-in. Which does it appear on that? Just a question here. Does it appear to you that this stuff may be getting to them? And if it does, if they have... Remember now how a lot of people view Mr. and Mrs. Clinton. They're nice, decent people just trying to finally care. The first people in 12 years that actually care about people. And you got to wonder if this whining routine of theirs will evoke sympathy from several quarters. Whoopi Goldberg says in the latest issue of TV Guide that being the first woman to host the Epidemic Award solo is an honor. She also says it's a pain in the butt. She says she doesn't intend to tone it down for the ceremony. She will not confine her comments to a prepared text. And she promises some controversial remarks. Goldberg says the world should know that entertainers are not just what she calls fluff pigs. She says we entertainers think about more than just our half and our salaries, our hair and our salaries. We've got a bad fax here. I can believe she doesn't spend too much time thinking about her hair. She also says she's thinking about trademarking her name. That way she can challenge its use whenever it pops up in a negative story. She says that when magazines like People or the National Enquirer or Inside Edition run a person's picture, they should also have to pay for it. Well, no, wait, I could have sworn that she just said that actors think about more than what they get paid. Have you heard about this? There's a company that makes caskets. Die-hard college fans can show their true colors when they die. Oak Grove International is making caskets that can be ordered in the colors of the dearly departed's alma mater. Fiberglass caskets also have a snap-in panel that can be customized with anything from a basketball and hoop graphic to one that says, like, Indiana Hoosiers or whatever the name of your school is. One funeral director in Bloomington, Indiana, says it's surprising how deep Hoosier fan loyalty runs. 6 feet deep is about how... Do you believe he said that? It's a surprising thing. You know what they ought to do, since these guys are now starting to sell these customized caskets? Kevorkian, this is a golden opportunity for him. Get on the bandwagon and start offering his carbon monoxide machine at tailgate parties. Oh, we're right up his alley. Yesterday, Mrs. Clinton said that there isn't much more to the Whitewater affair than the fact that she and her husband made a bad investment and lost a bunch of money. And it's the same thing that happened to Americans in the 1992 election. Made a bad investment and lost a bunch of money. By the way, I've been reading about this. I've got this Money magazine story in the April issue. Here's the deal on this. The Money magazine audited the Clintons' tax returns from 1980 through 1992. They found that they had underpaid by $16,358. Interest and penalties accrued since 1980 would bring their total bill to $45,411. However, they won't have to pay any. Even if the IRS did this audit, they won't have to pay it. There's a statute on audits of 4 years, and all this stuff happened so long ago that the only way the IRS could collect from them is if they willfully defrauded. And Money magazine reads this and says, I don't think they did. They conclude that there really wasn't fraud here, that they just a little ineptness and a little overzealousness in certain areas. But there are some interesting details about how the Clintons attempted to handle their finances and taxes, and basically you find that it was motivated by a desire to have a lot of money, a desire to pay as little in tax as they could. It was, and by the way, the one thing that the Money magazine people point out, let me see if I can find it here very quickly. It's this business where they lost $69,000. They say they lost $69,000. Money magazine puts this in pretty good perspective. Let me see if I can find this here. I should have marked this when I read it. Because they clearly point out that this is a bit self-serving and irrelevant, the way they are trying to portray this. They're running around, and see, this is what's gotten everybody aroused, because they're running around saying that they lost $69,000, and that somehow exonerates them. They couldn't have done anything wrong. Well, we couldn't have done anything wrong. Well, I lost $69,000. Mrs. Clinton yesterday said, as it turns out now, I'm glad we lost the money. But they still didn't file correctly. And the point is, it doesn't matter whether you lose your shirt. If you file incorrectly, it doesn't matter. You can still owe back taxes. So if they've got a $68,000 or $69,000 capital loss and don't file it, how does that jibe with making sure that long underwear for $2 is counted and added up? I mean, they went to great detail on these charitable donations of their goods and products and stuff, their little knickknacks around the house that they no longer wanted. It's quite an indictment here of just the way they went about. And the indictment really is, hey, these are people who are just like everybody else. They're just trying to make as much money as they could, and they're trying to pay as little in taxes as they could. And this is why Jim Leach says, is it fair for an American president to ask that Americans pay their fair share in taxes and then raise their fair share when they don't pay theirs? And you see, it's not the money. It's like I said yesterday, James. You were asking me if when I asked you rather if people would be upset over this $45,000 over 13 years, and my impression, you're going to have some people who are going to be upset over that, but I think for the most part, most people are, if they look at this squarely, are going to say, wait just a second. All he's talking about is people paying their fair share and people getting away with not paying their fair share in the 80s and so forth. Well, all this happened in the 80s, and they didn't pay their fair share by $16,000. And the penalties and fines and anybody else who got caught would have to pay a total $45,000. The amount of money is it's a lot of money. I mean, they probably would be hard-pressed to come up with it. Oh, and we didn't get to this on television last night, but we've got a clip, and we got to show you this. I hope we have time to get to it on TV tonight. We've got Jay Rockefeller making an impassioned speech on the Senate floor. Bill Clinton came to Washington penniless, and he will leave Washington penniless. He's been poor all his life, and he will leave Washington a poor man. It is incredible. And this is the reason why this latest attempt is being made to characterize the president as downtrodden, poor, and penniless, is to make sure that people don't conclude, hey, they're just like the people they're criticizing in the 80s. They didn't pay as much as they should have. They got away with it, and now they're criticizing others who did the same thing they did, or tried. And in fact, see, this is my complaint about the 80s. Most people in the 80s paid their fair share. Most people, the rich, paid more in taxes than they've ever paid before in this country. They did, folks, is not arguable. And this is a huge, huge dent in the foundation they've built for themselves as morally superior. I can't find this thing, and it's here. I just can't remember the column that's in it. I'm not going to waste time while I'm talking to you trying to find this little paragraph where Money Magazine puts into perspective this Clinton's loss of $69,000. Before we go to the break, though, do you remember when David Brock wrote his piece in the American Spectator on the Anita Hill Clarence Thomas case? His piece eventually became a book called The Real Anita Hill, which aroused storms of controversy because it was a feminist icon once again under assault, properly so. Brock's book was great. Brock's story in the American Spectator was spectacular. I read extensively from that story of the American Spectator because I was so gleeful to see it. Somebody had finally deigned to uncover the truth about Ms. Hill. The American Spectator may have come up with a similar type story in the February issue of the American Spectator. It's a story by James Ring Adams. And this story, it's just amazing to read this. It is overwhelming in scope. And if you think that Whitewater is hard to understand now, you don't know what hard to understand is until you try reading this, but I would urge everybody to try it. If you can get copies of the February American Spectator. Have you found it? Yes, Snerdley found it. Yeah, let me, since I talked about, let me go back to this. I'll get to James Ring Adams' piece here in just a second. Here's what Money Magazine says about the Clinton $69,000 much ballyhooed loss. By the way, when you lose money, you're supposed to be virtuous. That's what, we lost $69,000. How could we have done anything wrong? Yeah, you lost $69,000 and you want to be in charge of investing 1/7 of the U.S. economy? But the complex Whitewater loans made the Clintons' subsequent tax write-offs anything but routine. Also, the Clintons' argument that they couldn't have done anything wrong because they didn't make any money on the disappointing Whitewater deal and didn't even claim a capital loss in the end is as irrelevant as it is self-serving. A taxpayer can lose everything and still file incorrectly, thereby incurring back taxes, interest, and penalties. Our audit indicates that Clintons may face precisely those consequences in the following instances. The first and largest of the Whitewater deductions on the returns money examined is a $9,000 interest payment to James McDougal in 1980. The $9,000 entry is audit bait for two reasons. One, a business partner is rarely listed as a mortgage lender. And mortgage interest is almost never a round number. Second largest Whitewater deduction also appears on the Clintons' 1980 return, $4,350 paid to Citizens Bank in Flippin which provided the $182,611 mortgage in 1978. But even that seemingly innocuous entry has a twist, because in 79, the Clintons and McDougals formed the Whitewater Development Corp. And contributed the 230-acre site to the newly formed company. This turn of events could prompt an auditor to ask for proof that the Clintons were the party entitled to the $4,350 mortgage interest write-off. What have you, everybody was taking mortgage interest deductions in this deal. There were checks being written that were not coordinated. Three elements, three interests in this whole arrangement. And if one of them wrote, it's a mess. It really it's a huge mess. But so don't be fooled with this. But we lost money. That's their defense. Mrs. Clinton used it yesterday and in these news magazine interviews over the weekend. But we lost money. I'm glad we did lose. They expect to get a gold star for that. As though, well, how could we have done anything wrong? We lost money. Take a break. Back with James Rings Adams' piece in the February American Spectator in a minute.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
Hey, time for some new information from our good buddies at CompuServe, folks. Guess what they've done? They have lowered their rates by up to 40% for members under their standard pricing plan. 40% price reduction. As a result of advanced technology and strong membership growth, which is no doubt due to this show, and you know, too, that CompuServe subscribers epitomize good taste as well, CompuServe is able now, because of the high volume, able to pass these savings on to members. Now, for only $8.95 a month, you can access over 50 basic services. Plus, you now can access thousands of other services at these new lower rates. They've expanded the CompuServe universe, accessible at the new lower rate. These services include interactive forums, travel services, financial services, reference databases, and entertainment. All those used to not be accessible at the low rate. They are now. Call 1-800-787-RUSH and order CompuServe today. 1-800-787-7874.
Do you know there are only 44 sounds in the English language? 44. And when you learn these 44 sounds called phonics, you can read and spell almost everything. That's why Hooked on Phonics is so successful. We've set these 44 sounds to music, making learning to read simple and fun. So get hooked on phonics and take the mystery out of learning to read. Call 1-800-ABCDEFG.
Knowles Carpet has been serving Goldsboro and Wayne County for over 45 years with quality installation of carpet and floor covering. Family dedication to this business has been enjoyed by thousands of customers. Joining Carpet One 5 years ago gave Knowles Carpet the additional buying power of 450 other stores to bring you the best prices available. Put it all together, and it means quality floor covering and expert installation by a truly family-dedicated business. Knowles Carpet, your Carpet One store, 2311 Wayne Memorial Drive, Goldsboro.
State Office Equipment Company has discount office furniture for less. Stacking chairs are only $27.95 and only $29.95 with arms. Storage cabinets, 72 by 18 by 36, only $115. Folding metal chairs start at just $6.95 and folding tables start at only $36. And State Office Equipment Company has used furniture for sale and delivery available. Get office furniture for less at State Office Equipment Company, 2211A East Ash Street, Goldsboro. Open Monday through Thursday, 8:30 till 5:30 and 8:30 till 5 on Friday.
Well, little lady, that's the beauty of an automobile you're looking at.
Thanks, but I'm just looking...
Now, darling, I can make you a great deal. Why don't you just hop in and see how you like it?
No, thanks.
But it's perfect for you. It's loaded, tires, brakes, seats, all the extras. Let's take it out for a test drive so you can fall in love with it. And you know we got a great sale going on today only.
Really?
Of course, you probably already heard about it because the dice giveaway. Everybody's been talking about it. You won't find a deal like that just anywhere.
I don't want your sale or your dice. I just want to look. Will you just stop hassling me?
Well, baby, hassle's my middle name. If you want that no-hassle stuff, you'll have to go over to Courtesy Buick.
Where?
Courtesy Buick on Highway 75 pass over to Goldsboro. They have no hassle buying on all kinds of Buicks and GMCs.
Thanks. I'm out of here.
Courtesy Buick GMC really does have what you're looking for. No hassle buying. No hassles, no haggling. Just the best bottom line price marked up front on every Buick, GMC, and Honda on the lot. It's a better, easier way of buying a car, one that you'll love, only at Courtesy Buick GMC in Goldsboro.
Still don't understand why the fuzzy dice didn't get it.
Emitting vocal vibrations, rhetoric and resonance par excellence. Rush Limbaugh and the Excellence in Broadcasting Network. James Ring Adams, February issue, American Spectator. This story contains some of the most damning allegations that you have heard. In fact, that's the point. I don't think many of these allegations have been heard. And this one is, this article contains the first allegation that convincingly explains why Vince Foster might have killed himself. Now, I read this because it was pointed out to me. Somebody called me yesterday and referenced this to me. I, for some reason, missed the February issue. You know what happens? The Spectator is so good. My mail, Mrs. Wiggins gets it and reads it herself, and I don't ever see it. I did not see the February issue of the... I do. I see her out there reading it. It's sitting there in her inbox, and it's never put on my desk. So that I missed it. So somebody called me, did you see James Ring Adams' piece in the February Spectator? I said, no. So I got it. And basically, here's what it is in a nutshell. As best, and this is such a short summary that it doesn't do this story justice. But, I mean, to sit here and read this whole thing to you would not be practicable either. You're just going to have to read it. But James Ring Adams, and he's written several books about the S&Ls. He's done a lot of research when it comes to the entire savings and loans scandal and a couple of other things that are related to it. So he has credibility, shall we say. He went down to Little Rock and he dug deep. And that's something that he is, by reputation, very good at. And here's what he discovered, folks. Turn up your radios here for just a second. Especially if you know, it's springtime in many parts of the country and people are driving down, windows down as they drive along. There's more noise in the car, so turn up your radio here. McDougal discovered a long track record, or James Ring Adams discovered a long track record of James McDougal kiting and forging checks, running a series of overdrafts on a variety of accounts at Madison Guaranty Savings and Loan, both his accounts and other people's accounts. And these overdrafts occurred pretty consistently during campaign season every 2 years. It also looks, you know this loan that we've talked about, there's a $300,000 loan that David Hale gave to Susan McDougal, and that money was then put into Whitewater. We've talked about that as we've gone through the chronology. The reason why this loan is suspect is because Hale was only supposed to loan money to small business applicants. He was only supposed to loan money to people hard-pressed to find money to start small businesses. And so technically, this money should not have been available to people like the McDougals and the Clintons, because they were way above the qualifications necessary to obtain this kind of money. So, it looks like that loan, that $300,000 loan that Clinton asked for, was designed primarily to clean up all of these McDougal overdrafts that he had been writing with the forging and kiting of checks, so as to fool the examiners who would come in and look at Madison and see whether it was solvent or not. Now, this loan, this $300,000 loan, again, the purpose of this loan was to cover McDougal's rear end, because he'd been writing overdrafts, kiting and forging a bunch of stuff from one account to the next to cover, it looks like, campaign debts or to make campaign contributions. This $300,000 loan and the related files to this loan were part of the search inventory in the charges against Hale. In other words, search warrant was issued and we want to look specifically for information and files dealing with this loan. The day the FBI issued the warrant for these files is the day the Rose Law Firm called Vince Foster's office about all this. It was also the day that Vince Foster committed suicide. We'll take a break and be back. Hello, you people. Rush Limbaugh here. You know, it's alarming but true. People do judge you by the words you use. When you speak well, you command respect. You move ahead faster. Verbal Advantage, Achievement Dynamics' best-selling audio cassette word power program, will give you the words you need to communicate with confidence and flair. And with Verbal Advantage, all you have to do is listen. To learn more, call now. 1-800-28-TAPES. That's 800-28-TAPES.
This is WGBR News, Goldsboro's very own.
This is Wayne Alley. Goldsboro Wayne law enforcement officer seized 14 packs of suspected cocaine, one pager, and $751 cash last night after Trooper Joe Sadler saw a vehicle driver lean over and then saw powder dust rising on the highway. A Goldsboro Wayne drug officer said the packs of suspected cocaine were coming through the vehicle floorboard, which was rusted out. Officers scooped up the evidence from the highway in the vicinity of the county jail on U.S. Highway 117 Bypass North, where the vehicle was stopped. 31-year-old Samuel Sampson Gordon of Swan Street, Goldsboro, in the Virgin Islands, was charged with possession with intent to sell and deliver 7 grams of cocaine. Bond for the suspect was set at $100,000. A Route 11 Goldsboro man, 24-year-old Eric Earl Moore, told Goldsboro police he was shot in the upper left hip on Lincoln Drive while getting into a car. Moore said he did not hear a shot and did not see anything, but a relative of the victim told an officer they were walking down Olivia Lane when a car with 3 or 4 black males pulled up. One of those started shooting from the car. Police were unable to get a description of the car or its occupants. The approximately 35 people who make up the asbestos section for the state will become the lead enforcement section, according to comments by Steve Williams in addressing the Goldsboro Kiwanis Club yesterday. Williams is working with the Goldsboro Housing Authority. He told Kiwanians that only one new piece of legislation relative to lead in the environment has been approved recently, and that legislation is directed to landlords and real estate people.
It's just terribly hard to look at a buyer and say, here's a poisoning hazard here. It just makes life kind of miserable. But full disclosure is the absolute only safe thing to do. If you've got property and it's got it, if it was built before 78, it's going to have it. If somebody asks you, you may as well disclose it.
Steve Williams. The ban on landfills accepting yard waste went into effect last year, but the Wayne County landfill continued to accept it until there was a place residents could take it. Solid Waste Supervisor Lloyd Cook says a place is available locally, and the landfill will not accept any more yard waste effective Monday, March 21st.
We have been accepting it until there was an alternate place to take it. Well, now, with the new wood power and recycling located on Old Mount Olive Highway, they are taking all of the yard waste, and starting on the 21st of March, of course, they will charge $10 a ton to bring it in, with the exception of pine straw, and pine straw they will take for free.
I'm Wayne Alley.
We've got a sudden change in comfort level on the way as this afternoon's warm southwesterly winds give way to a chilly blast from the north by tomorrow. Our forecast for this afternoon, partly cloudy, breezy, and quite warm. The high today reaching 71 to 76 degrees. Then tonight, partly cloudy, lows dropping off to around 40 to 45. And for tomorrow, mostly sunny skies. It'll be windy and much cooler, though. The high tomorrow only reaching 55 to 60. At the Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Mike Moss.
Rush Limbaugh. Oh, come on in closer, baby. Hear what else I gotta say.
Snuggle on up there.
You got your radio turned down too low. Turn it up.
Telephone number is 1-800-282-2882. People have been attempting to get through here for 5 years and have never been successful. Others get through on their first try. Houston, Texas, Sandra. Hello, glad you waited. Welcome to the show.
Rush.
Sandra.
I don't believe it's you.
It is indeed.
No, we'll make a Southern Hospitality Dues from Houston.
Thank you so much. Great to hear from you.
Oh, well, I work at a high school down here in high school, and I was on spring break, and so we were down in Galveston yesterday.
You know, when I was in high school, there was no such thing as spring break. That just goes to show you. We had, at the Easter break, there was a Thursday and Friday off, and that was it. Now, it's spring break, and high schoolers go to Daytona Beach or to Lake Havasu and mingle with college kids and get into all kinds of trouble.
Well, they may get to do that, but I don't. I can't afford to. They can, I guess. But anyway, we were down in Galveston visiting a friend and came back yesterday afternoon, got your show. I don't usually get to catch your show because I'm at school, and I've tried calling you for over a year. And anyway, I was listening to you talk about the people out here who don't care, that you must not care, and of course you and I both know that that's the media that's spreading this stuff, because there's a tremendous amount of us who care.
These are media stories where they interview American citizens who say they don't care.
That's right. But the point being is I told Bo I called Hutchinson and Graham's office and Jack Field's office and stuff this morning about why the Republican Party is not getting together. That's my biggest upset, is the Republican Party is so split.
You know, you ought to tell this to President Clinton.
I'm trying.
He thinks the
I
Republican...
hope he's listening.
He thinks the Republican Party is so unified, all they're doing is going, no, 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 no.
No, I heard that. I don't, they're not unified at all. In fact, when I called Hutchinson's office, they recommend to me that I call the Republican Party, get involved with the Republican Party down here. This is something, I'm part of the silent majority. I've never gotten involved. I am involved now. I called the Republican Party and said, expressed these desires of wanting to know what the Republican Party is standing for and why can't we get together on things. And they said, they recommended to me that I just needed to find a group that shared my views, quote. And I'd like to know what that means, share my views. If the Republican Party is together on things and standing for morality and character and less government, less taxes and everything, then why do I have to find a group that shares my view? And that upsets me terribly.
You know, I think you have nailed the major problem facing the Republic. I mean, look at the issues. Would you list those issues again? Morality. What were the others? Low taxes, less government.
Morality, character, less government.
What a
platform. A platform.
What a platform. What a platform. Why, it's so simple. That is the Republican historical legacy.
Yes.
That was bestowed upon our party and our nation by Ronald Reagan. Ronaldus Magnus.